Hey everybody, welcome to On Location 311 Odyssey Podcast. We're here with Hernandez. Yeah, like I said, Ovation Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey. We're gonna rock the house tonight. Big old spot out there for everybody to check out. Sitting on Stacy is looking like a sound check here in a moment, but we're gonna start by going through Tim's guitars. Ryan is his primary technician and friend, and knows how Tim likes them. So why don't you show us a little bit about what's going on this tour, man?
Sure. This here is his main guitar. We call this Blonde. We just had it refretted and some new tuners on it, but this thing is great. All PRS guitars just come in, you know, pretty sweet setup. Got the brass saddles on these, and we put in these new pickups. I don't remember what was in before because we swapped out a few. Sure. These ones they come in a McCarty 5815s. They sound great. They're like PAFs.
Nice.
Yeah,
That'll be the one he's playing primarily tonight?
Yeah,
nice.
He used to use Old Blue.
Old Blue, yeah.
But it's just something in the wood. This one just sounds a little more, sounds brighter and it cuts through more.
Very good.
So, and you know, it's a good looking guitar. I mean,
really
they all
is,
are, but you know.
Sure.
Then we've got his backup here in case things happen with that one. This is tortoise shell. Same kind of setup. We got new tuners on it. New bridge, same pickups, you know.
Was it a tour or two between changes of the hardware, or how often is it that he...
Not often. It hasn't seen love in a while, so we sent them in to get some PRS love, and they hooked us up.
We got here just in time then.
Yeah.
New stuff.
New bridge, new frets, and new tuners. So and it's got these cool little inlays. I don't know if you can see that, but little ohm inlay.
Very sweet.
Yeah. And then these ones are mainly for like, this one he uses to practice with. This is just natural mahogany. It's an old one that he used back in the day. This one can use some love. These are 59, Seymour Duncan 59s I installed a while ago. Yeah, this is just like backup. Or if crap hits the fan, we go to this one. But we're pretty good about that.
Nice to have multiple arrows in your quiver.
Yes. And then this is Old Blue.
Oh, there she is.
Still a sweetheart. But you know, we've tried using it, and he always goes back to the Blonde. It just has more clarity. What? Oh,
just Old Blue. Yeah, I've seen a lot of history.
Yeah, actually, funny story. I think I told you this is the guitar that made me want to get a PRS when I saw Love Song, and then get the honor of actually working on it.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome, man. Good, very good story.
And then this is just a backup, same one.
Sure.
They sent him this one, and I think they made a run of the SE models, the Tim Mahoney SE models. But yeah, that's the guitar. So that's the first part of the signal chain. Actually, Tim's fingers are. And then it goes to the guitar, and then we'll go to the pedal board.
Sure.
This is where I work.
Right. It's hardware and his drawers and stuff.
And the most important thing,
Coffee. All day long.
There, we go into thank you.
Yeah, I think he does.
It's the board. Don't ask me about signal flow, but that's basically what he uses. And then we normally have the party board, which we're not rolling with this tour. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Uses every single pedal. Everyone always asks, does he use all these? Oh yeah.
Timmy.
That's a really good overdrive.
It's upside down. We're sorry, guys, but yeah, that's.
If you want to come over here, you could probably get a.
Sure. And has this been pretty consistent through?
It has been. Yeah.
Last year, Japan.
Yeah, Japan. This is the same thing we used. Minus, like I said, the party board. A couple things have. The only thing that's changed is like this guy. There used to be a flight time. I don't know if you know that company.
No, actually.
It was a delay pedal, but we took that off, so it goes. We have this one, or we'll put like a Brigadier on it.
Very cool.
Stuff like that. So yeah, but that's
well, maybe some of the maybe some of the gearheads will spot a difference and be able to predict when we hear some new songs coming up.
We'll see.
That's very cool, man.
So this right here, so you know, this is the channel switcher. So he uses 2 different amps for dirty and clean. So this will just go between the 2 amps, which will go, and see over here. Cool. Good. This is the tone central amp section. So we got the Uberschall brass knuckles and the Mark V from Boogie. First clean, dirty. We then run through the effects loop and go into these old school PCM 42 delay racks, which sound amazing. He used these on Blue album, I think.
Wow.
I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But he used these in the studio and been using them, you know, so they sound great.
All right.
Pretty reliable for the road, just kind of finicky because they're so old. But after that, it goes into these cabinets here. This is the 30 cab, clean cab. And
That's the process.
that's the process, that's the signal flow.
That's how he melts your face.
And then goes into these mics out into the PA, and everyone dances and has a good time.
Has a great time.
Yeah.
All due to the work by Rye Hernandez.
Man. Thank you.
You know,
He helps out a lot too, though, because like when stuff goes down, he's right there with me.
Sure, you guys are working together.
Yeah, it's important.
Extra
and,
hands.
Yeah, want to make him as comfortable as possible.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and being on the same page and knowing what he's needing before he needs it.
Exactly. Yeah.
We thank you for taking the time today.
Absolutely.
311
Thanks for
Odyssey
having me.
Podcast. Ryan Hernandez, Arc. Talk to you later. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 311 Odyssey Podcast. I'm your host, Arc Sensor, co-host, that is. Down below is our resident historian, Jay Two-Tone. Got my boy B-Love hanging over here. Today's guest is a member of the 311 family and Tim's guitar tech. He's also a musician, been in bands of his own. We want to welcome Ryan Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We love it. Love to have you, man. So why don't you tell us how you got started in music as a young lad, just in general? What got your foot tapping?
Actually, this is gonna sound weird, but do you remember that country band Alabama?
I do.
So when I was a kid, I used to watch music videos, and there was a music video. I think the song was called "In a Hurry to Get Things Done." Don't know why. That was one of the lyrics, but I remember the video. They did this overshot of the drummer playing, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool!" So I grabbed my mom's pots and I mimicked the drum set and grabbed some hangers and just started playing away on the drums. And I just always felt that, I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities with people in school too. I didn't quite fit in with like everyone at school. So gravitated more towards the music side because it's just, you hear it and you just, you know, feel that emotional connection with it, that language. So yeah, I just kind of dove in and then started learning the drums. And my parents bought me my uncle actually got me a drum set, which my parents regretted shortly after.
Always.
Yeah. So I played drums in high school because we used to do this thing called the Gong Show. And everybody was a guitar player. So I was like, well, I'll drum for you. So I drummed for like 4 bands in the Gong Show. And then later on in high school, I was like, I want to play guitar. So I was like busting my knuckles up and like just carrying a drum set's no fun.
Right.
Where did you grow
Yeah,
up?
I've done that a few times.
I grew up in San Jose, California. Okay. So I'm actually like down the street from the Shark Tank is where I grew up.
I was going to say, you like the Sharks?
So you're in Northern
really.
Cal. You're in Northern Cal listening to Alabama. Like, how does that happen?
Just my parents, my mom mainly loved country music. So she'd always listen. Oh, and my brother, my oldest brother, he's the one that really got me into like the heavier stuff. Because my middle brother, he was a DJ, so he did like listen to, was it Stevie B? He used to do like remixes and stuff, and his room was right next door to mine, so it's always just every night just and I was just like, fine. But then down the hall, my other brother, my eldest, he was listening to like Motley Crue, AC/DC, and then he eventually got into country, and that's what got me into it. Because of course, you follow the bigger brother.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got into Alabama and like Marty Stewart, Travis Tritt, and all that stuff. So.
Well, I remember that exact same feeling growing up with a mom who was a country western DJ, always listening to country. There was always music on in the restaurant at my grandparents. And then at a certain point, after you've structured music and you hear melodies that you like, even if it's not your favorite, at a certain point, that's when you start looking for your own jam, like your older brother. Like, I want to feel this, but I want it to be something that I picked, not something that picked me. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
Right.
It's very familiar. Yeah.
And I think at the time too, like growing up in the, I mean, I grew up in the 80s, I guess. I don't know. I was born in 79. But like when music was like that whole movement of the 2000s, like if you want to call it new metal or whatever, it was almost like with Papa Roach and all those guys, it's like there was something going on that everybody could relate to. Like this certain feeling of despair, not fitting in, and it just gave everybody a home that didn't really feel like they had a home. But then also the music was just good. It was heavy and big, and like guitars were just massive sounding, and yeah.
Yeah, and then I know you played guitar in Power Man 5000, right?
I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
How did that come about for you?
So before all that, I was in a band called Strata.
Mm-hmm.
Got signed to Wind Up in 2001, I think. Did like 8 years of touring, recording, and blah blah. During one of the demo deals with Capitol, we were at Mates in LA, and we were in a room right next to Power Man 5000. Yanni was our tour manager when Strata was signed. Well, actually, it was Peter Yozell first, and then he brought on Yanni as our tour manager. So that's kind of how I got into the 311 camp. Mm-hmm. And then, but to back up to that, I quit music for a while, and a buddy of mine, Kevin Garcia, asked me if I wanted a guitar tech for Power Man. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, for sure. I'm not doing anything right now. I'll totally do it. But I did that for I think 2 years. And he remembered me from the studio because I talked to him and the guitar player. Can't remember his name. Really nice guy. But anyway, his guitar player ended up quitting, and I was in the van with him. And it's funny because I was listening to that band's Fear. I don't know if you remember them. They're like an old punk band. And he goes, oh, you like Fear? And I was like, yeah, I love them. So we started talking about music and everything, and he was talking about like writing. I was like, well, I can, help you out writing some stuff. He's like, yeah, if you want to send me stuff when you get home. So I came home, worked on stuff, and then that's when his guitar player ended up quitting for some reason, and he had a show at in Michigan. Asked me if I could fill in, if I knew the songs. I was like, yeah, they're pretty easy. I could probably just, fumble my way through. Did the show. It was the worst show ever. I thought I was going to be like booted out.
So just, I guess, right place, right time, and opportunity is what transitioned you from musician into the roadie side of things, or are you just, did you prefer that over one, or?
I when I was touring with Strata, I became friends with a lot of the techs most of the time, because like the band, like I became friends with some of the bands too, but like I was more intrigued on like the working side of things. Like setting things up and like fixing guitars. And also I got tired of paying like $120 to go have someone change my guitar strings and you know, intonate it. So it all started when we were touring with Finger 11, and I became friends with the guitar tech, Chris. And I told him, I was like, hey man, if you ever want to take a break and hang with family, I'll gladly, you know, tech for you. He's like, yeah, cool. And then obviously when Strata broke up in '08, it was like a year after, he hit me up and he's like, hey, I'm going to take a break. I was like, sweet.
There you
So
were.
yeah, I just into it, and I was like, this is cool, because I get stage fright sometimes when I play. So like, what's nice about the behind the scenes thing is no one kind of really knows who you are. You kind of just do your thing, and then you're like, all right, here's your guitar, go have fun, you know. And you get to just, okay. So
Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask the question that we ask everybody. When was the first time you heard 311?
I'm gonna be honest here. First time I heard 311 was in high school, probably. It was down, obviously. 'Cause I graduated in '98, but it was really when I saw 51st Dates and I heard Love Song.
Nice.
I fell in love with that song. I didn't, at the time, I didn't know it was a Cure cover.
Oh, okay.
Because I was more into like the heavier stuff and then the Beatles and whatnot. But I got to be honest here. Like in high school, when 311 came on the radio, I changed it.
Oh damn, shade.
But and I was, like I said, I was into different stuff back then, and I just didn't understand that side of things. But I remember when I saw, like I said, 51st Dates, and then I saw the video of Love Song, I fell in love with Tim's guitar, because I knew who they were. I just, you know.
Right.
And then I started listening to more of their stuff, and then obviously Amber and everything else. But I ended up getting a PRS endorsement through Finger 11 because of that video. And fast forward to when Yanni was tour managing us, he always told me, he goes, you remind me so much of Tim Mahoney when you play. And I'm like, who is that? He goes, 311. And I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, just the way you guys move is very like, you know, similar in a way. And you guys are both kind of like, you got to meet him sometime. I was like, yeah, it'd be cool. Thinking nothing's going to happen. But then you fast forward, I am working on the guitar that got me one of my favorite guitars, working with a guy who is one of the nicest people I've ever met in like music world. Like I've met a lot of people, they're all nice, but Tim is like exceptionally like very just awesome. He's one of the chillest people. It makes me feel like family. He involves me in stuff. It's just a very nice chemistry we have together, and it's just kind of ironic with everything in the past that's kind of led to this moment.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that he would turn 311 in the past due to the fact that he was into heavier music, but the ones that nabbed him were the more mellow, chill, reggae vibe songs from 311. And then I'm sure your taste in being there and hearing it night in, night out, you've heard everything at this point. But
yeah,
that's an interesting little thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved, like, I love ambient music. I love the chiller side of stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But once I saw them play, it was my first 311 day. It was 2018. I was like, wait, they do this song? They do this song? Oh my God, they do this song too?
Yeah.
But I fell in love with them, and they've easily become one of my favorite bands, because the musicianship, the songs, and then them as people has really just kind of like, you know, because if you meet a band and you're like, these guys are awesome, you tend to like their music even more.
Right.
About it.
And all that with them. And I don't think I ever told Tim about me changing the station, but He'll find out sometime.
Well,
I have
we have breaking news here. Go ahead,
so
Bila.
so you heard 311's version of Love Song first, and then you found out it was a cover.
Yeah,
Isn't that so? Going back and hearing the original version, it's like, oh wow, which one do you like better?
311's, because I thought it was the original, but like I said, they bring something magical to that song, and I do like The Cure, but the way they redid it just sounds better to me.
It's more colorful.
I agree.
It's more colorful, it's
fuller.
more
Yeah.
I think it lends itself to the lyrics a little better too, because The Cure kind of has the bounce to it that in the 311's is more mellow, more Nick's vocals is very smooth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Tim's like the guitar playing on it is just more my style, I guess, because
Yeah.
The Cure's cool, but it's nothing to take away from the original.
Of course.
But sometimes you like cover songs better.
Yeah, there's so many instances in music history where someone does a cover and it's just not as good as the original, or it's just so different or too experimental, and they butcher a lot of covers, and it happens more often than not. And I
Right.
feel like this is one of those moments where they didn't butcher it. I don't think anybody can make an argument that that's a butcher of that song.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. You're right, and I probably am the same way. I like 311's version better.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those songs. It brought more meaning to 51st Dates, and so now like every time they play it, it's kind of like, my partner, my wife, and I always like FaceTime her when that song comes on.
The very few times that they play it.
They play it in my local Wawa all the time. So
Yeah, well, yeah, I hear it all the time on the radio too. Like right after I leave a 311 event, I'll be driving home or whatever, and all of a sudden that song will come on, and I won't change it.
there you go. That's a great video too, and I believe one of the members of The Cure is a bartender or something. I think in the video.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
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 No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I forget which
I
one.
gotta go
Not Robert Smith, but I believe it's the bass player or the guitar player is the
Yeah,
bartender.
he cameoed as a bartender.
Hmm.
Oh,
Sure did.
Well, if it's not Robert Smith, I mean,
Yeah, it's not Robert Smith. It's a different
I
one.
think I would have noticed.
People only know the face man,
And the lipstick and yeah.
yeah,
front man.
yeah.
But
The hair.
So I guess
well, let's jump into when you started working for 311. You said it was 2018, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And like one of your first things was 311 Day. That's a big one to start with. Like, what was your impressions and thoughts going into that?
Anxiety, chaos. I just didn't know what to expect, because when I was brought on, I flew out to Florida and did 3 shows with them with their prior guitar tech. And so I was like basically shadowing him around, and he's like, yeah, I'll be fine. You just do this and plug this in. And, his rig's kind of similar to something I use, minus the using 2 amps for a dirty and a clean.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw his pedal board, I was just like so confused, because, he's got these like junction boxes on it and stuff. So now I know what it is, but I didn't realize 311 Day was like the biggest day of the year for them. And so just being on stage and seeing everybody like scramble, freaking out, and yeah, I've never smoked so many cigarettes in my life. And then, but I told myself after 311 Day, I'm going to quit smoking. So I started vaping, which I got Dave to start vaping. Sorry, guys.
Nice.
But yeah, it was just amazing. Like, I think that might be the first time I met you, B-Love.
Yeah, and I had no idea that was your first year. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was like the 4th show with them.
Was 311 Day.
Was 311 Day. So Donnie basically was, all right, in San Diego, is like, I'll see you later, you'll be fine. And I'm like looking up like 311 Day, and I'm just like, oh shit. just like
How long?
It's just another gig.
How many
yeah.
songs?
Yeah, and I think that was also the year they added the basement. So it wasn't just like they, here's your guitar, go play an hour and a half and then take a break and then play longer. It was like, we're gonna do this break in the middle where we're gonna bring these stages together, make a basement, and then you have to put Tim's B rig on that, make sure it works all within like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, no stress.
Cigarette for cigarette. Dude, I'm gonna tell you, dude.
The
That
result,
basement set was so amazing.
It
And like,
was.
do you have any idea the significance of that?
that was huge. We were all geeking out to see the pool table basement like in the flesh with the guy standing there, even though it wasn't. You know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is when I looked it up afterwards, because it's all like, you could find like old pictures of them and down there and whatever. I was like, this is really impressive, and the fact that they actually like walked behind it up and then walked down the stair, and
That was cool.
even though I was a newbie to the whole thing, I still felt like a proud whatever maybe, but
participant.
yeah, it was just awesome. And then just watching the I call them family, like the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
families like just dance and have a good time and get into it, and it's a really amazing feeling. And plus, like, meeting everybody for the first time, like, was very welcoming. I haven't been a part of something that was as big as that.
Yeah.
So that was right away what attached me to like the whole thing.
The
and
unity.
seeing everything.
The unity.
The unity. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually like love this, and because your perspective is you started with Down, not really into it, then you get into Love Song, Fall in Love, thrown into the mix. And this basement set is all songs that are just like not even before Down. We're talking like almost like 8, 9, 10 years before Down.
Way back.
Yeah.
And not that long, but in just a completely different 311 altogether,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was this your first time hearing some of these songs then?
Yeah. And I was like impressed because, like you said, like all I knew was the mainstream songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I watched them bust out into like this other stuff, I'm like, who are these guys? They're like, like they have this massive, music collection, and then they bust out these other songs that sound nothing like, to me at least, nothing like the 311 I know.
Right.
But I think that's when I like it clicked in my head, and I was like, these guys are amazing musicians, like every one of them, and they're one of those bands that I consider like a Led Zeppelin in a way, because if you take one member out, they are not 311.
Right.
Amen.
They all together create that sound, and it's amazing. And I love watching them every night, and I'm pretty blessed that I get to like do that. And as a musician myself, it's super humbling. And I have to be honest too. So I'm obviously Tim's guitar tech, but a lot of the times I watch Chad because I'm a drummer at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's just a beast. It's insane.
Total machine. No
And they
doubt.
all, I mean, Peanut is as well, like all of them are, but as a drummer guitarist, like Tim and Chad are like my Dave Grohl. Like if you were to split Dave Grohl, it'd be like Chad and Tim.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Well, Chad he's and I see this in myself too, and this is one reason why what drives me to make myself better is Chad's his worst or is his most harsh critic. He could play something almost like perfect, 99.9%, and go, I could do better. It's not perfect, and go out and try to be better, and that's why he's so good, man.
Yeah, and same with Tim. I mean, there's nights he'll come off the stage for the drum solo, and he'll be like, I butchered it or whatever. I was like, be like, dude, you're fine. You're totally fine. Like, he's such a humble person, and I feel like he could be a little hard on sometimes, but like, what musician isn't? But that's a good sign, because that means they just want to be better and better, and yeah. But
That's wild. What a crazy first 311 day, you know? You got to see it all.
I got to see it all, and I was, like I said, I was just blown away by everything, like from Bobby's like production thing, and then just seeing how like a real band operates, because a lot of the band, like the bands I were in and the bands I teched for, didn't really have like that caliber of
They were
everything.
they were still in the winging it, fake it till you make it stages that you hear so many roadies talk about,
Yeah.
with bands until they really start to gel and get the process.
Yeah, and these guys have been going at it for a long time, so they definitely have this well lubed engine going. So it was definitely an honor to be a part of all that, and like I said, meeting all the family, and just how welcoming everything about it was.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I
And then-
apologize for in 2018 when I came up to you and was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you were like just on your way. I was like, "Well, he's busy." It's 2018.
I was going to
the end.
It's-
Probably.
there's-
Probably. I was just as excited and anxious as you were though, because I was there and I was just like, "Oh." So.
There was a cigarette with your name on it.
Yeah, it was
Oh yeah.
half smoking cigarette waiting outside for me that I had to finish.
I appreciate you, buddy, but nicotine's waiting. I got you. So you came in for 311 Day in 2018, then you went on the Summer Unity tour after that. What was it? Gym Class Heroes and Offspring? Did that
Yes.
did you when did you get into your groove after that? Like how post 311 Day you get into the back into the regular groove of it. How did that feel?
I think it started to set in around like maybe like the first week, because there's always, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but we call it Hell Week. Which is like when you don't tour for a while, then you go on tour. It's like you're kind of rusty for the first week, and then eventually things start to get into place and get smoother. It did help that we did leave out of my hometown. We played Shoreline, was the first show. So I had some friends come and see me off. But there was a lot of self-doubt at first, because after 311 days, seeing how big the band was and thinking like, holy shit, this is like a real thing. This is like but Tim was very, very helpful and very like calming, saying like, if anything happens, we'll get it together. Not making me feel like this is on you. You got to fix this. He was very like, we'll get it. We'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, his pedal board, I think, took a shit at that show. I think there was just
to kick you off.
Yeah. I think it was just something with the wall, like in transport, the power adapter kind of bumped out a little bit. So I just ran up there and, fumbled cables and then popped it in, and it was fine. Afterwards, he was like, good job and blah, blah. So it was fine. But yeah, I'd say about after like a week and a half, after being on a bus with everybody and living with them, and you could actually start, pardon my French, but you could actually start farting around people, feeling a little more comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was definitely a great tour. That 2017, 2018, I believe, was Mosaic, correct? During that album.
Yeah. This came out.
Yeah. Is there any
any
standout memories from that tour? Like anything crazy that Offspring or any of these stars pulled? Any pranks? Any?
Not so much pranks. I think there's one moment Peanut brought Noodles a guitar. Towards the end, there was that. Honestly, being on tour is such a whirlwind. It's like you don't remember much.
Moment to moment, yeah.
Yeah.
No
I
worries.
just remember
It's the
being
same way for me when I go to the concerts. Like I've been to
yeah,
them all, but that this memory could be from this one, or it might have been from 5 ago, and I just thought it was the last concert. So who
yeah.
knows, man.
Well, if you ask my wife, I have the worst memory because I can't remember anything from yesterday or 5 minutes ago. But
That's a
yeah, I remember,
disclaimer.
yeah, she won't listen to this. Um, I I just remember meeting everybody and everyone was super nice. Gym class heroes. I still talk to uh, the second singer. I can't remember his name. God, that's horrible. But I still talk to him now and then. I had a nice talk with the main singer one night. We were in Mobile, Alabama, and we just talked about life and random stuff and families and whatnot. And that was kind of cool to actually just kind of
Connect.
connect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit down
That's
and
the lead
just
singer from Offspring.
What's that?
Was that the lead singer from Offspring that you were talking about?
No, Gym Class Heroes. I didn't really Offspring much. I talked
That guy's
to
named
Todd
Dexter.
maybe like once or yeah, I didn't really talk to those guys. They kind of just like went in and did the
Rock stars.
yeah.
yeah.
Then after 2018 summer, you kind of moved into 2019, and you went to like Mexico for the Roxy Festival early in the year and Knox Fest later in the year. Are there any special considerations when you do those international shows?
As far as like gear wise
Yeah,
or
just anything that's just different from your standard tour.
not really. I mean, it's we rent gear over there with Tim and SA. We bring obviously 2 guitars, the pedal board, and the PCM racks for Tim,
Mm-hmm.
and then we bring his main DJ rig. Excuse me. So we just rent cabs out there. So nothing's really different, minus the little bit of language barrier, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the airport stuff.
And, oh yeah, well, that was the time that we would actually travel with the gear. So we'd have like 32 pieces of gear coming off the luggage belt, trying to put them on a cart, and then like pushing it all out there, and like that was rough.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would leave something somewhere.
That was, dude, that's always my biggest fear is like the second I leave, I'm like, did I get his guitar? Did I have this, and do I have all this stuff?
It adds so many points of failure.
Counting cases, making sure you have the same number as cases.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're good about counting the cases and making sure they all match up, just like when we were in Japan and Hawaii. We had to count everything and make sure it's all good and proper, and then we're good. So, but I can't tell you how many dreams I've had where like I forgot something, or the band's on stage and Tim's like, "Where's my rig?" I'm just like, "Oh shit!" And like like wake up sweating. And so now I'm like always just like making sure I have everything I need.
Unfortunately, somebody trashed some of Evanescence's gear during the Knot Fest tour. Do you remember anything about that? You have a story or a tidbit?
We just finished playing. I forgot who was playing on the other stage, but we heard rumors of like, oh, they're stopping the show and because of something about the barrier cages thing. And we all get to the tent, get everyone together, and right as we're leaving the venue, the site, we start getting all these tweets about fires are breaking out, people are storming the stage and burning gear, and we're like, oh my God. But it was scary. Like we got out of there just in time because they just went apeshit.
Yeah, I remember because I was like, oh crap, because I heard about it and I was like, 311 is there. I'm like, I wonder if they got out. Like, it was. Yeah, but I heard it was like they canceled because of the barrier. They couldn't provide security and everyone rioted.
Well,
and had
It's
three.
I think what happened.
It trashed Evanescence's gear.
Ooh.
Well, I think because Evan, I think was it Slipknot was there, if I'm
Not to.
correct.
Yep. Hmm.
They canceled because they didn't feel it was safe, and then sorry, just plugging my phone in. They canceled, and then Evanescence then put out an Instagram post saying that they canceled, and that's when all hell broke loose because they kept telling everybody like, the band's coming, don't worry about it, they'll be here, and they never did, and then they saw the post and they just went crazy. But if you look carefully in one of the videos, you see one of the security guards like pull the barricade down and lets people just run off. So I don't know if that would.
Way
What's that?
onto the stage or away from the venue.
I think the footage I saw was like going towards the stage.
Damn.
Because they were missing. Apparently, I don't know if this is true enough, but I guess they were missing one, like a pin that would hold the barricade in place, and they kept taking that like one out and like moving it to the other stage and then bringing it back to the other stage. And
Wow.
like, I don't know if it's true. Don't quote me on that, but
Yeah.
that's what I heard.
Yeah, who
And
knows in the
then
moment.
the barricade was like breaking and bending, and the guy just went, and everyone just ran and stormed the stage. And
Wow.
Had 311
Yeah.
played already at that point or no?
yeah, we did.
You had
we
already
just
played.
had finished.
So you
And I
guys were
think-
probably like, "Oh, that show was fine. It was fine."
Yeah, we left there going, this was awesome, this is great. And there was a band before us, I guess a band from Mexico. They were awesome, and this is such a great day, everything's going great. And as we're leaving, I'm just like I said, we're getting these tweets, and I was like, I see the
Jeez.
text, and I just looked back in the van as we're leaving going, oh my god, I hope everyone's okay. And yeah, it just went downhill from there.
Crazy.
And somebody to Home Depot, something. Ooh, get a pin.
So move on
Yeah.
a little. You get out of Knotfest, and 2019 comes around, and then you join up for the 311 cruise, right? Did you go on the
Yes.
2019 cruise? How
I
was
did.
that experience for you?
That was amazing. I've never been on a cruise, so I was obviously really nervous about like the I'm intrigued by the ocean. Like there's two things I love, the ocean and space, but I don't ever want to go to any of them.
I would agree with you, but I would go to space. I don't want to go in the ocean.
Yeah, I don't want to do any of them.
You're a fan of breathing, it sounds like.
Yes. I acknowledge it's there, and then I let it just do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the cruise was amazing, except when they were telling me stories that like people have passed away and other things that have happened. I'm just like, oh my god, okay. But it was beautiful, like all the stops we did. And I remember my singer for Strata, because he knows Yanni too, because like I said, he tour managed us. So we asked Yanni, he's like, hey, I want to go on this cruise. And Yanni's like, well, talk to Ryan. And Eric's like, hey, I'm gonna go on the cruise, I'm gonna be your +1. And I was like, okay. So the whole cruise was like the joke that he was my partner. But he had to hang out with all the wives, so
That's funny.
yeah. But man, it was such a humbling experience as well, because like I never thought in my entire life I'd ever go on a cruise, let alone want to go on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was just awesome, super nice people. And the other thing that blows me away about the 311 family is that they make things and they pass them out. Like, who does that? Like, they make shirts and like bracelets
Swap
and
meets.
necklaces and things for that event, which I still have.
Refrigerator magnets.
Magnets and like.
I
just
handed
all
you a
that
bracelet and you handed me a Tim pick.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
And then you went and had your cigarette.
Yes. Actually, no. If it was the cruise, I quit smoking.
No, this was the first 311 day. Our first meeting I keep going back to. That was the interaction. Hello. And you dug around and you pulled a pick out of your pocket and you handed it to me. And I said, all right, peace. Have a good day. I knew who you were. That was cool.
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I only got nervous when I looked at my phone and the map, and it just showed all blue and then a blue dot, and I was like, oh man, I'm really in it now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then the last show on the way back, um, it got a little rainy, a little stormy. Oh, that's another thing. I ended up playing with SA. It was Evan and I because they have a band called Ghost Wolf that you guys probably know of,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
which I love. And I'm always like bugging SA and Evan to do more. But SA wanted to do some Ghost Wolf stuff. And I think it was at the front of the boat, whatever venue that was. And so I was like borrowing Tim's guitar and like learning these parts and like adding my own flair to it. So we start playing the show, and all of a sudden the boat's doing like going up and down, and like I'm just like, okay, don't throw up.
Oh,
Trying to focus on the parts, and yeah, it was interesting.
and it's always worse at the front of the boat. That's where you feel it the most. So
I definitely felt it.
The front and the back.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So if any newbies are watching, you want it in the middle. You want a cabin in the middle.
it's just like flying. You don't want to be in the front. You don't want to be in the back of the plane. You want to be right on the wing. Less turbulence.
What's the name of that lounge? I forget. Is it Starlight?
Starfield, Starlight, Stardust.
Stardust.
Stardust, yes.
Theater. That's it. That's where the swap meet on the boat was this last time. But they have those every 311 day as well. So like out at Vegas, it's been the Wire Lady, you know, the big woman that's between the two buildings. That's where the swap meet has been the last couple few. So it's cruises and 311 days alike.
For the like fan made gear.
Fan made gear
Everyone
gets
just trades off.
Yeah, and people lay out giant tapestries for people to just sign as they walk by. It's always fun. Always a great time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Did
that's
no one died. No one died that cruise, hopefully.
yeah, no, I didn't hear about anything. I'm sure I would have freaked out.
Who was it that was like, cruises are awesome, people die? You know, who telling you about that?
I don't remember. It was somebody in the crew, but they were telling me about prior cruises that, like, apparently someone jumped off the boat, broke their leg.
Very first one.
Yeah, somebody maybe OD'd, and I was like, well, what do they do with the body? They have a helicopter come and get them? Like, no, they stay in the boat. And I was like,
they have a morgue, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a morgue downstairs.
These are a couple 7-timers here. Both of the co-hosts here are 7-timers for the boat. B-Love and Jenny have been on all 7. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys were on that one with the crazy lightning bolt that Brian showed me.
Yep. That was the 2012, yeah. And
oh man.
Historian.
It was funny because it's right in the middle of applied science. They're like, Chad Sex, no. It was like, no. They stopped the show right when Chad's solo was coming up. They're like, we're gonna take a break. And I mean, the lightning and rain, that first set got canceled after that.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll be
back.
but never happened.
I just remember in the video, like, Tim didn't want to leave. He was just like shaking hands, and I'm just like, what is he doing? Where were you guys in that crowd? Were you like in the middle there?
I was Tim's side, maybe because that boat had tiered, the Lido deck was tiered, and I was on like the second tier on Tim's side. Yeah.
Did you like feel any of the energy from the lightning or when it hit?
I didn't, but my friend was with Love Storm, so she's like, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was freaky. I was like, we got to go inside. I'm not getting struck by it. Nope. It's like metal bars all over the place.
And you know, we're like the only thing there to hit. Like, you're in the middle of the ocean, so.
Which is why it freaks me out. You can't run anywhere. If that boat gets damaged, you're like, well.
Yep.
Now I think they just like drive around storms. They see them and they're going, all right, we're going to change course and go this way.
Yeah, we did that on the one I was on, we were like headed right towards the storm, so we did a little maneuver, and then I could be wrong again on this one, but I think Brian or Dave said, "Well, there's no way around it. We're going straight through the storm." And I was just like, "Yeah, we just covered all the gear, and I think it rained a little bit, and then they ended up playing, and it was awesome. It was amazing."
Cool.
It was so cool too because on my side I had Tim's wife and kids, and when his daughter was like dancing and he was like headbanging, and they're like dancing together. It was the most awesome thing. It was such a amazing moment to see that. Yeah, it's
such a family.
It is, and that's why I love it. That's I grew up with being half Italian, Mexican is like it's all about family, and like to see how 311 treats everybody, and it's all family oriented, and it feels good to be a part of that. So
yeah,
because I've been with other bands where it's not very family oriented. It's very like you're just it's just a paycheck, or you're just a piece of muscle doing stuff. Right. So
that's good. It's good to hear.
You got that Tim family love.
Yeah, and it's we he'll give me pedals, I give him pedals, and I'm like, dude, try this pedal or try this amp or whatever, and it's it's a very good connection that we have, because it's not like I'm talking to my boss. It's like I'm talking to a friend, and excited to talk about gear. So yeah.
Cool. So 2019 brought around Voyager. You were there during that portion of it. Do you have any favorite songs on that, or any things that you can tell me that you noticed maybe changed for Tim's rig during that tour because of the songs?
I think the only thing on his board that changed was he had a flight time delay that was giving us trouble. It kept cutting in and out, and it wasn't true bypass. So when that pedal cut out, it would cut the whole board out, and it took us forever to try and figure out what it was. And so I started like jiggling it while it was playing, and I was like, "Oh, that's it! It's cutting in and out." And so he swapped that out. The PCM boards, the delay units all stayed the same. Can't think of anything else. I mean, his party board is constantly changing.
Well, then in terms of songs, in terms of your favorite song from that, is there anything that you like on CD format that maybe kicks more ass live, or vice versa?
Yeah, I have to pull it up because I get those albums confused.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Voyager,
there are
Mosaic.
A lot of songs.
Yeah, because when I joined, Mosaic was like the one that just came out, and then Voyager, there was I think that's when I was like with them, because I think Mosaic came out right before I joined. But so I love Stainless, Dream State, What the Dodging Raindrops actually became a favorite for a while, just because like I remember being on tour, and just kind of like missing home. And that song came on, it was just kind of like, kind of hit me. Born to Live, Charge It Up. But I think really Stainless is like, if you look at my Spotify account, like Stainless has like the most played strings for me.
Great song.
Don't You Worry is good too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But something about Stainless it's just rocking, and they don't play it as much.
Yeah,
but
we can relate.
They don't play it enough.
Yeah.
They don't play it at all, actually.
Heard it a time or two, but yeah.
Yeah. They used to play it a lot when.
Yeah, when they were promoting the album, they played it quite a bit.
Well, that's pretty cool to get to be a roadie and a fan and hear new music while you're helping them set up to perform it. That's pretty dope. That's got to be a cool experience.
I mean, it's cool because we got to hear Voyager before it even came out, I believe, because the other guitar tech at the time, he needed to know like the settings or the tone of it so he can like,
Sure.
and then I had it because they just gave it to everybody and I was like, dude, this is awesome. But yeah, again, stainless, I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. But I do also like my other favorite from Mosaic is Too Late. So it's like stainless and Too Late are like that outro and Too Late is just so heavy. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is 311. Oh my God.
And it's so cool how they can go from chill to heavy and let that pendulum swing, and it just feels always like the perfect transition, and then back to chill again. Like they really
Yeah.
can blend those styles. Something else.
Yeah. And they have that special something that, that's why I think they'll be a band for a long time because they could morph into anything really. And they just have their signature sound on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's magic.
Yeah, it really is.
Hmm. Then 2019 Summer Unity Tour. There's Dirty Heads, Interrupters, Dreamers, Bikini Trill,
Trill, yeah.
all on
Mm-hmm.
one bill. Did you
Mm-hmm.
did you catch any? Do you catch any of the opening acts when you go on tour, or is that your time to kind of set up?
I catch a little bit of it. I mean, the first couple of days, I tend to just, break everything down. And then how I normally work is I'll break everything down and I'll take like an hour nap just so I'm good for the show because I don't want to be just like completely exhausted. But I did get to see all those bands and they were really good. Interrupters did a really cool cover of Bad Guy, which is really cool. Dirty Heads were cool. Like it was, it was just a fun tour. I mean, I wasn't like, how do I say it? It's all the bands just fit. It was good. Yeah.
Good vibes. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Has there been any openers that you didn't know, and then now that after you saw them, you're like, okay, yeah, and now they're in your playlist?
Yeah, there was the tour we did last year with a band called Blame My Youth.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who they were, but when they got on stage and that guy, when he opened his mouth, I was just like, oh my God, this guy can sing. And they're all just really nice guys. I still talk to Mike, the drummer, a lot, keep in contact with him. But they kind of just reminded me of like myself being in a band and playing with other bands, just having fun and, living day by day kind of thing. There's also other bands I just can't remember right now. But yeah, there's a few bands that I saw and I was just like, wow, these guys are really good. Yeah.
All right, moving from 2019 into 311 Day 2020. That was kind of an interesting one. The 3 days, and then COVID was hitting at the same time.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know what happened.
Was there any like I hear conflicting stories on this. It's like some people were like, yeah, we weren't sure if the next day was going to happen, and then some people were like, oh no, we went, and then it was like, oh, no one's there. So how was your experience with that?
We started to hear rumors about this disease or this thing going around and I was like, whatever, it's just a flu, everyone's going to be fine. And I remember because at the time too, my band, we got back together and we signed a deal with Bill McGathy, who does like Shinedown stuff, and we went down to LA to the dinner thing. We're all excited, we're getting back together and going to do stuff and writing new material. And I was telling my singer, like, oh, dude, you're just freaking out. It's just the flu. This will be over before you know it. And then on the TV screen backstage, I started seeing like this basketball player has COVID and this person now has COVID and they're starting to shut things down. I'm like, oh my God, this is serious. And And then there was talk of like closing down the show. And every day we came in, it was, because I think that was the one where we did 3 nights, right?
Yep, 3 nights.
Yeah. And every day we came in, it's like, well, we'll see if we're gonna do it, I guess. And it's just a waiting game. And then they come back in, they'd be like, all right, you guys are good, go and do the show. And we're like, I guess we're gonna do the show with COVID around. But as far as I know, no one got COVID at that show. No one got COVID from the crew. Everyone was good. I think they, just played a good show and rocked the COVID out, I guess. I don't know.
I think Vegas was probably so isolated from all your borders that it was one of the last places to get it, So
yeah,
we were kind of protected that way, even though you got all these people flying into Vegas. Dude, I remember that specifically. That was the one time in Vegas when you're like, we wake up, we will start, mimosas and like, where are we going to go? But that we were sitting in front of the TV watching the news and just seeing like U2 canceled their tour, Pearl Jam canceled their, March Madness is getting canceled, the NBA canceled their season. And I was just going, oh my God, dude, we don't even know if the show's going to go on tonight.
And there was a noticeable difference around the arena on that third day, too. It was just 311 day. People left. March Madness is gone. That big tractor convention pulled out. There just wasn't the foot traffic. And it was like tumbleweeds rolling down the main strip there that morning. It was so surreal. Yeah.
Yeah. And then getting back home was like a whole different story because it started to really bloom once we got back. And man, it ruined a lot of bands.
It killed the freaking Fat Burger on the Strip, which is one of my favorite places to eat. There's a Fat Burger with a bar, and I'm just like, this is my favorite place from now on. And it survived.
Yeah, a lot of places down here, closed down to a lot of mom and pop shops, and unfortunately, it took a lot of people with it. With the disease and stuff, but I mean, yeah, what a weird time. I mean, I remember asking my dad, I was like, did you ever live through anything like this? And he's like, no. And normally that's not the answer you want to hear, right? Because you want to hear like, oh yeah, we'll be fine. But he's like, no, it's new for us too. It's like, holy shit, all right, well, I guess we're on this together. And then, out of that was riots and this and that, and I was just like, I'm not leaving my house at all. Screw this.
Yeah.
Complete chaos.
Well,
and then this was the cancellation of the tour with Incubus. Are you an Incubus fan?
I like them. Yeah.
It was 50 dates in 50 states. 50 dates in 50 states tour. Yeah.
Yeah, which I needed Hawaii and Alaska, and I would have hit all of them. So I was super stoked about that. And last time I had a DVD a long time ago was Incubus Live at Red Rocks. And I was like, oh, dude, I can't wait to see them. It's going to be a great show, a great tour. And then, that got canceled. Because I remember they were fighting for a while to try to get that tour. And it's like, finally, we got it. And then, unfortunately, the pandemic hit. And that was it.
I was excited to try to get them here. Gah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. I think that one that the fans are still like,
so many.
Why isn't it rescheduled?
Right, salty.
Do it again.
Yeah, still salty about it.
Well, hey, you guys kept your chins up, and obviously positivity and trying to the roadie relief that we talked about with some of our other guests and certain things that hopefully you got some benefit from. But then we started talking about drive-in shows and the Live in the Hive stuff. So what did your job turn into, and how did you help assist day to day, other than the obvious getting Tim's guitar? Is there anything extra for those special events for you?
No, it was all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The drive-ins were like a normal show.
Yeah.
Except different.
So weird. I went to it.
It's like a live concert.
It was like, you ever been to Sturgis? Any of yous?
I don't believe so.
So in Sturgis, it's a biker concert, I guess, but people bring their motorcycles in in the audience, and they rev their motorcycle instead of clapping.
No way.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like that, but more felt like a Saturday Night Live skit, because the band would finish playing, and I was like, "That was awesome!" And then you just hear honking, and then clap, and you're just kind of like, "All right, well, here's the next song." You know, it's such a
There you go.
weird thing. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was gonna really catch on, but it was cool that they like did what they could to try to like make concerts happen again.
Right.
Especially during the time with everything going on, I felt it was really important that people go to concerts, because it was such a time of just everyone pointing fingers and
Turmoil in general.
yeah, and you know, what's the one thing we can all relate to, regardless of your beliefs or whatever, is music. Because you have, and that's what I love about 311, is that there's so many different beliefs of everything, but when everyone's there together, everyone's singing the same lyric, looking over at each other, smiling, like that is what it's about.
Mm-hmm. That is what it's about.
Couldn't have said it better.
That's why I keep coming back. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but once you did return back to getting into live shows, there was all this venue protocol and security standards that were different. You know, how was that coming back on top of your already, heavy load of work you had to do? I'm sure it was not super great, but
Yeah, it was a little different, because now you come back and you have to, like, everything's different. You have to wear masks, you have to get vaccinated. I think at the time Live Nation was like, if you're not vaxxed, you're not playing. And I know a lot of people lost their job because of that. But I was like, I don't care. Music's important to me. I need to do this. I'm not going to, leave Tim stranded. So, but yeah, just, I think it was more of the mental process of like getting back into it from not doing it for so long, right? I mean, it just felt weird.
Instead of Hell Week, you might have had Hell Month to get back into the to the swing of things.
Yeah, I mean, because now you're like, everyone's getting tested when they come into the show, and if you get COVID, then you have to stay behind for like a week until you test positive or negative.
Right.
Which happened to one of our crew members on a tour. But man, it was just such a weird thing. But I'm kind of stoked to have been a part of it, and
you guys are all stronger. Resilience. You're all stronger. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
That was a moment in time when the slogan changed to "Stay negative, love your life."
Right. Or stay home. Or what was that? It was like
stay home.
Do stay home sessions. Yeah.
Do stay home.
Yeah.
And they were nice enough to do the stream systems on that tour. Was there any extra pressure with the stream systems going on?
That was honestly probably the easiest, because all I had to do was, restring his guitar. And that's why, what's nice about Tim too versus stage left side is he plays one guitar. And then I just restring it, tune it, and I just leave it there, and they walk on, he plays, and there's no guitar change for the live stream. I don't remember. I had to go out there and change the delay like I always do. But I think it's just, my main thing was just not bumping into him or tripping over anything and falling on live stream,
Right.
But that was fun too. I mean, and then you'd have people that were like at the Hive at the end of the stream, want the band to like sign something or just to say hi, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, that was probably the chillest it's been versus live, like in a venue setting.
Right.
Yeah. Plus the food was great. We order out and get like, I don't know where it was, and it just so happened that a lot of the streams were on my birthday or the stream was on my birthday, and then like we did something else again that was on my birthday. But I'm never home for my birthday anyway, so.
Dude, I love those streams, man. They were so great.
I think they should bring them back, right?
Well,
They
yeah.
should do
Yeah.
They're
just,
great.
if
And all of Evan's stuff before and after, like it was just so super dope, like all of it.
yeah, I mean, him and Dave did, a crazy amount of work to turn that studio into a live stream thing. So might as well use it. I mean, I think what they were going to do too after is they were going to rent it out to bands to do live stream. I don't think that ever happened, but it's like you have it, just do, like random things here and there. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree. They can
Yeah,
do anything on those
sure.
walls. They put all that projection and all that stuff, so they can.
Yeah, and it looks great. I mean, when you're there watching it, you're kind of like, it looks cool. But when you see the live stream, you're like, oh, this looks way cooler than in person.
Ah,
Oh, really?
cool.
Yeah. Just because of the camera, the way it makes it look is, yeah. So, yeah.
We'll jump into 311 Day 2022 now. We're coming up on that. Do those all kind of blend together at a certain point?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what tour was in 2022?
Peanuts, Aaliyah,
That's right.
bass solo.
Evan, yeah,
in the
yeah.
in the Imagine cover.
Imagine.
Mhm.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. And then I think we went on tour right after that, right?
Yep, you did 311 Day on the 11th and 12th, and then on the 15th you were back at it with Unlikely Candidates.
Oh right.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, they're another band that I liked. That was a fun run as well. I don't remember much of it, but who else was it? There was another band with us, wasn't it, or was it just?
It looks like it was Unlikely Candidates, and then they left and Teenage Risk came on.
That's right, Teenage Risk. That's the other band too. Yeah, they were cool. They had like a really like throwback grungy sound, which was awesome.
Kind of want to like go backwards a little bit and talk about the Halloween show at the Stanley and that
Oh,
stage.
yes. Yes, let's talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's it.
Did you dress up? Anything?
Yeah. I mean, Dave and I were both the girl because
Oh yes.
one of the members, not 3 members, but one of the fans, I guess I'll say, because it makes more sense. Trish, I told her, I was like, yeah, I really kind of want to be one of the girls. It'd be kind of fun, jokingly. Next thing I know, she goes, I got you something. I was like, oh God. So she got 2 dresses for the twins. And of course, I wasn't at a good weight back then, so it didn't really fit me well. It fit Dave nicely. So yeah, that was really hard because the stage is really small. And so I had to walk around SA and then in front of Tim to change his delays. Meanwhile, I had this poofy ass dress that was like bumping into things and grabbing, like I'm just like trying to like hold the dress down and like maneuver, and like my arms are like this because I can't, like if I do this it's gonna rip. But also when we got there, I guess they were something to do with the lighting wasn't properly set up, so we loaded everything in. It was kind of snowing, and we had to wait a while to load on that stage. And the whole time, Manly and I and everyone else was just like, how are we going to get this on the stage? And that's been my thing, is like sometimes we play these places, but I'm just like, we're trying to fit a shed band in a theater.
Right.
But we get it done. We make it work. And it was a fun show. And I love, like, The Shining is like one of my favorite movies. Every time on tour, I would do these posts, these stories where I'd put the 2 girls holding hands down a hallway. Um, so it was kind of fun to actually have the real thing, except I didn't get to go into the hotel.
What? Oh no.
I didn't know we can go in there.
Oh no.
Oh,
So the whole time I'm there, I'm like looking at the hotel. I was like, man. And as we're leaving, I think someone asked, "Did you go in the hotel?" I was like, "No, I didn't know we're allowed to." And they're like, "Oh, I went in it twice."
Oh dang.
Oh, yeah, it's a touristy thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, man, you and Bella should have took a picture
I know.
in
Well,
the
actually,
hallway.
Evan took a photo of me. I think I'm holding the set list in the dress, and that became our lost baggage uh, thing. So now I'm forever printed on a lost baggage
Laminate or something?
laminate. Yeah,
Oh no.
How funny.
it's embarrassing, but I'll take it. But yeah, that was a fun show. I enjoyed that one. It was really cold though. Loading out was kind of rough.
It snowed.
It did, yeah. I mean, it's only right, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then of course seeing Nick as Abe Lincoln, I could not stop laughing.
reflective, ably.
Yeah, yeah. And then Chad's Kiss tribute uh, was amazing. The Peter, what's the drummer's name? Peter,
Chris?
Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Came
from
out
Kiss,
saying
yeah.
on the chair, and
Sing Beth.
that's right. Yeah, Beth.
And
I
then
was like, it was Jack, which was amazing. Yeah,
with the bass guitar from Kiss.
that's right. The axe. Yeah, I hope we go back there. That was a fun one.
Had the full album shows at the end of 2022 where they did music through from Chaos.
Right.
How, those were big for the fans. Obviously, those were huge shows for the fans.
Yeah.
Was there any particular moments from that stand out? Those shows?
Just hearing the songs, like have heard them how they recorded them back then and played it versus how they play it now, was awesome to hear. So that was cool. The last show in New York, I forgot what album they did there, but we played Terminal 7, and that was a really fun show.
Yes, it was. Music and
Yeah.
grassroots. It was music and
What's that?
grassroots.
That's right.
The first
It was
two
It was a
albums.
tune. Yeah. But then also that's when I started to have a little bit of anxiety because I found out, I think that was the tour that I found out that we were pregnant. So yeah, I was like, okay, I need to start thinking about things a little differently now and what's going to happen in the future. So
Yeah.
I remember that moment.
yeah.
Oh yes.
It was scary a little bit, but
The new dad feels.
yeah. I don't know if you can see, but I haven't slept in a while.
Well, congratulations to you and your wife on your new child, your son.
Yeah, man. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. I joke about the no sleep thing, but honestly, he's amazing. It's one of those things you can't really explain unless you become a parent. Friends have always told me that. I'm just like, before having a kid, I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's amazing. Happy for you. But when it actually happens to you, you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like really.
Yeah, it's one of those things that your parents always told you. You'll understand when you have kids of your own, and now you understand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah,
to the
of course, back
club.
then you're like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Tim give you any parent advice?
What's that?
Tim give you any parenting advice?
Yeah, he has. He's just, whenever I come to him, I'm like, oh man, this is happening. He goes, don't worry, man. It all, works out, and, they grow out of it and stuff. And Cher has been really helpful. Like when we after we had him, they sent us a bunch of like stuff. We couldn't really leave the house. So they sent us a box of like food and like random things, and it was amazing. And she's helped my wife out with stuff and like questions, and so it's been very, very awesome.
Good.
It's
Yeah.
cool, man.
Good to have a nice working support system. That's great.
Oh,
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, it's couldn't have asked for anything better, honestly. Like I have a few friends that have kids, and they're helpful as well. So we take all the wherever we can get it, because it is hard raising a kid. But luckily, we live by my parents, so it's
It helps.
it helps a lot. Yeah, because we were up in San Mateo, which is about 40 minutes from here, away from my parents. So it was kind of rough when we didn't have anybody. But luckily, he was only like she wasn't working. We weren't touring really. So we had all the time at home that we needed. But now that we're both back working, it's amazing. Like I don't know what we would have done without the help.
That's good.
So
Glad to hear it.
Takes a village.
yeah, it really does.
So were you also on the 2023 cruise?
That I was not on. I think because we had our son, his name's Makai. We had him on the 27th of April.
Okay.
Before that, they kept saying he might be early. So I bowed out of that cruise, and I think they had Ruff do it, who's Tim's old guitar tech.
Mm-hmm.
Another amazing guitar tech, amazing person. So he filled in for me, and then I got my buddy Tom, because I took some time off. I've been trying to get my buddy Tom into like doing stuff, because he had some hardships. Excuse me. He had some hardships in the past, so I was like trying to help him out. And I've known him from back in the day. We used to play in bands together. So I talked to Dave and told him like, hey, I'm going to have my buddy Tom fill in for me. And Tim met him, and Chad met him, and they liked him, so he filled in for me. Then of course my mind starts going, they're going to replace me with him. But yeah, so when I came back, they moved him over to stage left. And so like if I have to leave again or whatever, he'll jump back to stage right, and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So
Nice.
yeah.
So you took a break off. When did you come back in after maternity leave then?
I think it was that month tour that we did last year. God, was it September or August? September, October?
Okay, so towards the later half of 2023.
Yeah, I think, man, was that the Blame My Youth tour?
Yeah.
Okay,
AWOL
yeah.
Nation.
AWOL Nation, that's right. So yeah, so I really want to do Red Rocks, but I was already like, Dave already had everything set, so Tom ended up just doing it. And they didn't want to really change techs out in between shows, which I totally get. So I joined back on the 2023 run with AWOL and Blame My Youth.
And fell in love with Blame My Youth.
Yeah. Yeah. They those guys like to party. I'm too old now. I go to bed at like 9:30.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a new dad, so get as much sleep as you can.
Yeah. I feel bad
When you
because
can.
I get more than my wife, and she's got to commute to work about 50 minutes, 45 minutes and back. And I'm just like always like, I'm tired. I went to the studio today. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But
So that brings us up to this year with Hawaii and Japan. How did those shows go for you guys?
those were awesome. Those were really fun. I had some scare though, because I think I was telling one of you that I had to go get some blood work and a CT scan and stuff. I was just having like gnarly headaches for like weeks on end.
and kept feeling kind of fluey. And I was like, I don't know what this is. And of course, I started panicking. And then I didn't fully get to enjoy Japan and Hawaii just because my brain was like,
In that
thinking,
mental.
Hmm.
I was just thinking about other stuff and what. Yeah, of course, I go on Google, and that's like the worst thing you could have done.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Because you read all the worst
WebMD.
possibilities.
Yeah, it's like you have a hangnail, you might die.
Right. Gangrene.
Yeah,
Gotta cut the whole arm off.
yeah. But man, I have to say, like the first show. Well, first of all, Hawaii was amazing. Hawaii is always just good times because it feels like that's where 311 belongs. And the crowd was amazing. We had to rent gear, which we had some issues with. Some of it sounded weird, and got through that. And then had another little pedal board incident where a pedal was funky. Fixed that. But that was fun. Had some really good poke there. Which actually by my house here in Japantown, there's a place called Santos Market that has poke I used to get all the time when I worked at FedEx after work, and it tasted the same. It was
wow.
amazing. Japan, let me say I hate flying. I'm not a fan of flying. So
don't like water, don't like space, don't like flying.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Humans belong on the ground. We don't have wings.
Yeah, okay, there's these big propellers that push air in the plane. This really heavy plane just flies through the air.
It is pretty phenomenal.
It is. It's pretty magical. Which is why I sat on the wing, so I didn't feel turbulence. But that was fine. I got over that. But we got into Japan, and it was amazing. I've always been a fan of Japanese culture. My aunt's Japanese on my dad's side, and funny story is my cousins are half Japanese and half Hispanic. I used to think I was half Japanese because, well, my cousins are half Japanese. Not the case. But I just going over their house, the culture and everything was just amazing, and the people are super nice, and made me realize we're doing a lot of things wrong here in the States.
Yeah.
But on every toilet, public toilets, restaurants, your room, it's insane.
What is it on every toilet?
Bidets.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Dave actually got me hooked on one because he told me, it's Amazon's having a special right now. You should go buy this thing. It's $26. I'm like, what? Okay. Because I'll be honest, the last time I tried one, I didn't like it. But I took Dave's advice. I bought one. And I was like, I'm never leaving the house without one of these. And so when I got to Japan, it was just these are everywhere. I need to move here. Because we all know about gig butt.
Toilet paper for the bidet, because I feel like it just falls apart.
It doesn't, because all the thing does is just kind of cleans the area, and then you just kind of dry it.
Just a little fan off.
They have fans on. They have heaters. They play music. You could do the front, do the back. It's full service. It's amazing. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about gig butt in Japan.
We were talking to Scotch. Did you notice anything about the fans that was different compared to the States? He gave us a story where when they played Japan previous, the show started or ended rather. The lights come up and everyone begins to just pick up everything in the room before anyone left. All the trash, everything was just picked up and clear, and it was quiet and orderly. Did you see any of that this time?
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. Not to mention, when the band first played, I almost wanted to cry because it was just the way they interacted with the crowd and the way that the crowd interacted with them. How much music means to them. Because I feel like here in the States, we're kind of spoiled because we have music just barfing out of everything. Um, but they don't get a lot of music over there because like a lot of people don't go there because it's far away and there's like so many places to play. Same with Hawaii. But yeah, it was just the weird thing was that when they stopped playing, it was like quiet. Like they're very respectful. They don't really clap or say stuff. So I was like, do they not like them? What's going on?
That would bug me out. I would just go. I would be the only one cheering and clapping.
Yeah.
That's odd when you know that they're inherently grateful because of the lack of live bands coming over, but then you get that response at the end. You're like, but yeah.
Did it go
Like,
over?
well,
Like,
like, do you want it to come back? Is this a good thing or?
The
yeah,
encore
like,
is just in silence. The encore.
What's that?
The encore is just complete
Yeah.
silence.
Yeah. Where it should be complete chaos, like screaming,
Right.
and you know, at one point,
Beatlemania.
yeah. And at one point, I think Tom had to like get them going to say 3-11, 3-3-11, and they were like slowly starting to say it, and it's like, no, it's okay, you could say it, like, you know,
Bring it.
yeah, we feed off that, you know.
Right.
That's cool.
But
Were
yeah,
they
it was
singing
weird 'cause
along?
what's that?
Were they singing along with songs?
They were.
Yeah.
And it sounded amazing. And then there was another band, the band that was before us, and then it was like a co-headline. The next night they headlined Man with a Mission.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Those guys are amazing. And they wear these like wolf masks,
Yeah.
which I don't know how they breathe in them. But a lot of them were like 311 fans, so they would come up to me and look at the pedal board and the amp and stuff. And we had this there's an amp or an app called Papago, so we were able to communicate with them, and like you talk into it in English and it you know, converts it, and then you talk back, and
cool.
So that was cool. But yeah, after the set, this lady would say something on the mic, like the loudspeaker, and everyone would just calmly go outside and go and get, and they have lockers there, so you can like go to a concert and put your valuables in a locker, keep the key, which I thought was cool. But yeah, like before I knew it, all the trash was like gone. Like the place looked like it was ready for another show in like 10 minutes.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, and the crew we had were just on top of it, and you know, kind of made us look kind of bad when we go on tour here in the States. Because it takes us like an hour and a half. Well, then again, we bring everything, so we have to tear everything down in different departments and stuff. But yeah, within like 15-20 minutes, everything was just ripped and ready for a new band to come in and play.
That's wild.
Very cool.
Yeah. But walking around Japan was awesome. And we went out one night and got some food. I think it was like S.A., Dave, Tom, and a few other people. But we went to this restaurant, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like these pancakes with like noodles in the middle or cheese and whatever. But it was really good. And the 7-Eleven there. What's that?
I was just like, good times, good food.
Yeah, it's like first they bring it to you, and it's all like you have to cook it. It's kind of like shabu, but they have you're sitting in front of a grill, and we were all just like sweating because it was so hot in there. And then behind me was the window that was slightly cracked, so like this side of me was like freezing because it was like 36 degrees outside, and then in front of me was just burning up. But they bring it to you, and you're supposed to cook it. So all the locals there, just like they get the bowl, they start cooking their stuff, and we're just like, can you help, like cook this? So he did. And
is it Okonomiyaki? Does that ring a bell?
Yes, that's it.
Okonomiyaki. Yes.
Yeah, but mine was like, it was called like a mochis. It was like cheese and vegetables and something else. But then Manly got called the Hiroshima, which had like noodles in it and like other things. And
that one has noodles, cabbage, bacon, bean sprouts.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, and the 7-Elevens there are not like 7-Elevens here. It's crazy. Like you can go there and buy like pre-made rolls, sushi, um, hot drinks, like hot coffees, but they're in these like containers, which they also have on the street too, which is cool. But yeah, like I pretty much ate the whole time at a 7-Eleven or a Family Mart.
What about the
Seen
bullet
those.
train? Tell me about that.
That was cool too. I didn't realize it goes over 200 miles an hour.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, you have your ticket, you get in, you sit down, and the way they like, it goes from Osaka to Tokyo. I think it goes other places too, but when it gets to the end of the line, they have to clean it. But these people go in and they reverse the seats, so now you're facing the right direction, and they clean it. It takes all but like less than 10 minutes, and there's no trash in Japan. Like there's no trash cans. Like you're supposed to keep the trash with you and put it in a bag or whatever, which is amazing. It's super clean. But yeah, I'm like sitting in the train, and I'm next to Manley and our lighting tech Ryan. But we're not going fast. We're just like, because we're in the city still. I'm like, this thing isn't going that fast. And all of a sudden, everything's like flying by like light speed. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're going 200 miles an hour now.
Wow.
But the scenic view is amazing.
Yeah.
So nice. And the seats are comfortable. It's, yeah, I can't say enough good about it. It's awesome. We need one here that goes from here to New York.
Yeah,
Definitely.
right.
At least here to Vegas.
Here to
Come on.
Vegas, yeah, or even just here to from San Jose to LA, because like I have to drive down on Sunday, and that's gonna be like a 5-hour drive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're prepping for those shows coming up, and Tim's gonna borrow one of my cabinets, so I got to bring that down there.
I'll see you there. Well, we're gonna be in at the Norva, and then Atlantic City.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Tiny Desk, there's like no audience for that, right? It's just a live thing.
There may be a small one, but yeah, I don't think it's more like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Norva. That place is amazing. Had a lot of good memories and a lot of bad memories there.
Well, I'll see you this time. I'm generally
Yeah.
Tim S.A. Nick centered, but we'll see.
Okay.
See what I can
save you a
get.
spot.
Well, then we have 311 Day coming up. Are you excited? It's 311 Day coming up an exciting thing for you, or is it an anxious thing for you?
It's both.
A little both.
By
Yeah,
this point, yeah.
I remember the last one and the one before that. It's only anxious for me because it is like their big day, and I don't want to I want to make sure Tim has a very successful night, fluid night, just comfortable, because that's kind of what techs are for, right? Like
Sure.
we're kind of caddies and make sure everything runs smoothly. And
Yeah.
so, and being on the other side as well, like I know how it is. So not that big of a caliber of 311, but still,
Right.
But it's exciting because I get to watch them play a longer set, which I wish they would play longer every night. But yeah,
You
that's why
mentioned
the Hawaii.
Deeper cuts.
What's that?
And deeper cuts
Yeah.
and whatever special things they have planned because it's their holiday.
Yeah, and I've been wanting Tim to do like how like Peanut does his bass thing, Nick does his like piano thing, Chad does his drum solo. I've been wanting Tim to go out there because whenever they do sound check, when he had his party board, he would do these like cool loops and like ambient textures, and like I'm a sucker for that. Like I love that stuff because that's what I do on my own time. But he does it way better. What's that?
Soundscapes.
Yeah, soundscapes.
Yeah.
And there's actually a video. I gotta find it. I'll send it to you guys. But it was almost like Pink Floyd at Pompeii because I had my camera and I went. It was at Red Rocks, and he was doing this cool like soundscape thing, and Chad was playing this cool thing on drums, and Peanut was just kind of like jamming along on bass, and I went behind everybody and just kind of did a slow pan like live from Pompeii, and it sounded so cool. I'm like, you guys need to do something like this. But yeah, I wish Tim would do like a little piece of just him, but he's so shy. I don't think he would do it.
Oh,
Well, it's good to hear that you know what it's like to have a good caddy, and it makes you want to be more of a caddy. What is it that you admire most about Tim's, other than just being a super dope guy, about his actual guitar style that intrigues you most? Like you said, you really heard his guitar, and that's pulled you into 311. What is that exactly?
Just the way he plays. He plays with feeling, and a lot of music I feel is if you don't have that feeling in it, it doesn't quite come across well, I guess. But with him, like he just closes his eyes and he goes to this place,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not about muscle memory for him. From at least what I feel and what I see, it's not muscle memory. It's feel, and I don't know, like he I don't know how to explain it. It's really weird. He I will say he's since I started working for them, he's become one of my favorite guitar players. And I don't have that many. I have a lot of friends that are amazing guitar players, but it's like him and my friend Chris Trainer from Bush. Like they just play with such feel, and it's the notes the notes that Tim chooses to play. Because a lot of people can go out there and just shred, just play random notes and like noodle, but every song that he solos on and plays on, it's like he picks the right note for that song, and it's just perfect.
He's not just
And
walking
that's something
scales. Yeah. I said he's not just walking scales for all those extra notes. Like it's all thought out, and yeah, I feel you there. Yeah, I love it when he nails a solo. God, I just, oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he takes the time, and like one of my favorite solos is actually one of my favorite songs. Actually, is God, I can't. Why am I always blank on it? Tranquility.
oh yeah.
There's just something about that song. I think it was a moment. There was a moment in my life when I was on tour when they first started playing that, and it just hit home. And yeah, it's such a like that when that solo came in, I was like, these are the perfect notes. Like there wouldn't be a better solo over this.
I've had those moments of joy myself when you hear a song and it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
They played that with a choir. Was that 2016?
I want to say it was. Yeah.
Yeah, for 311 Day, they had a gospel choir, and that performance,
And they did Tranquility with them.
bro. Tim solo,
Yeah.
son.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of glad I wasn't there because I probably would have been bawling my eyes out.
Bawling his eyes out.
But at the same time, I wish I would have seen it.
Yeah.
Well, I used it in ETSD 3. So, did you go see that by any chance?
Was that at the theater in LA?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did. I don't think I heard the song until after. The song wasn't in my realm until after, I think that, because I heard it on they started playing it. What tour was it? I think it was the one right after the pandemic, or a little bit after that. Or no, it was 2021 or 2021 was it, or 22? I can't remember. It was one of those tours, but they started playing it. I remember we were at New Hampshire at that venue that has like everything backstage. Guilford, New Hampshire.
Guilford.
Guilford, yeah. But they played it there, and that's when I was like, it just resonated with me.
Oh yeah.
And then ever since then, it's like I always wait for Nick, because when they do sound checks, they're like, they ask Scotch if they're good, and then Scotch's like, I could do one more, and Nick goes like, any request? I want to go Tranquility, but not my place to like shout out stuff.
You got to throw your voice, make it sound like it's coming from somewhere else.
Right? Yeah. Go back here and do this. But yeah. Oh, another thing that drew me to 311 too was I found out that my grandmother was from Omaha as well.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, and when I found out they were from, well, half was from Omaha and half was from Lincoln, I was like, this is, maybe I should be doing this, because that, my grandmother meant a lot to me, and she passed, I think, 3 years ago. And so yeah, and funny story, we had a day off in Omaha, and before my grandma passed, she showed my dad the address where she lived. And I remember telling Evan, he's like, oh, yeah, I know that area. I used to go to a liquor store right down the street from your grandma's house. I was like, oh, that's crazy. But I got the address that my dad gave me. I took the bus, or no, I took an Uber out to that area, and I went, it was like 25th and L Street. And so I go to this house, and I'm walking up there, and I see this house, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is where my grandma grew up. This is where she, like, ran these streets. And so I tried to take a picture in front of the house, not looking creepy. So I did it times, and I guess there was someone like looking out the window. When I looked at the picture, you could see someone like looking, like, who is this guy? And then I show my dad my mom, dad, the photo, and my dad goes, that's not the house.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So it was the house next door. But
It's close.
Close enough. It's close enough.
Next time you go back.
Next time I go back, yeah, I'll get the
Next
right
time
house.
And the neighbor would be like, I remember you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like, why are you taking pictures of our house? What's going on?
So I
Yeah,
guess
that
I guess what's next for you is Europe. Any new countries that you'll be experiencing for the first time?
I think all the ones that are there, because
Like-
I've only been with my band, I've only been to Romania, Sweden, and did an album in England, in
Awesome.
Cornwall. So I've never been to any of the other ones. So
Pretty soon.
That's gonna be exciting for
that's
you.
exciting. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I'm probably going to gain a lot of weight because I'm going to eat a lot of food, and it's a lot of comfort food over there. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Well, hey, man,
Yeah.
we want to thank you for all the hard work that you've put in with your time in the 311 camp. It definitely makes the show better, and we know Tim appreciates it, and that trickles out to the rest of us. So we've been
Oh, well,
thoroughly entertained, and just like all our guests, you're a part of the engine that brings us the stuff that we get to geek out about here in this podcast. So thank you so much, and we
appreciate that.
wish you safe travels in the future as well.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much, and I
Ryan.
appreciate you.
All right.
Honor, man.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Everybody here at the 311 podcast, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at a show very soon. Have a good night.
See you there.
All right, 311 Odyssey out.